Thank you so much. Thomas Schwartz is just the most caring president. I've talked to him over the years, and he cares so much about the happiness of students and always trying to find a new way to make things better here at Purchase. So, thank you. Okay. I wrote a speech. Congratulations, dear graduates. It wasn't long ago that I was at my own SUNY Purchase graduation, listening to the voice of James Earl Jones say, "May the force be with you." Today I'm honored to be welcomed back and to speak with you, and though I couldn't come up with anything half as good as that phrase, I will try to say a few words from my heart. Being at Purchase was a magical time for me. I entered the music conservatory, moved into the dorms, got my meal plan, which meant that my pockets were always full of cookies and apples and oranges from the dining hall. It was the first time in my life I met so many like-minded people, and as if all the kids who were the dreamers in the class, the doodlers, the scribblers, the starers out of windows, somehow decided that SUNY Purchase was the school for them. I didn't know it at the time, but I would meet some of my closest lifelong friends here, and my future husband too. There he is. I loved it. I loved all the brick, the nature of Westchester, the classes, the teachers, the students, the many senior and junior projects to see, the late night conversations, the crazy living room dance parties. I was so grateful for the feeling of community, of fun, and of freedom. Surrounded by political science, music, women's studies, documentary film, environmental science, dance, literature, and many more majors, we were always discovering something new through our friends. Someone was playing a new chord they just found out about, or reading a new, old philosopher. But it wasn't all easy. I had obstacles, stresses, fears. I hurried. We didn't have a lot of money. I worried about my student loans. I had taken some AP classes in high school, which had helped a bit, but I was really in the rush to save money, and I overloaded on credits every semester. Luckily, that had a bright side and led me to classes like travel writing, oil painting for beginners, sculpture for non-majors, French, and of course, because who could resist a class with that name, Jewish humor through literature. I was lucky enough to get scholarships. Just like many others, I did a semester abroad. I worked 3 small jobs on campus, and then somehow, in what simultaneously felt like a lifetime and a blink, I was done, a graduate. I had no idea what to do, what to try. With my music degree in hand, I went out and got my first post-college job on a butterfly farm in Wisconsin for $10 an hour cash, and I was ecstatic. When that was done, I moved back into my childhood bedroom in my parents' apartment and began to work a series of office jobs I wasn't super great at because I was always daydreaming too much. Just to put it in perspective, my parents lived at the top of the Bronx and I worked in Soho, so my days went something like this. Early in the morning, I would walk to the subway and travel to my day job, which door to door usually took about an hour and a half. Then after 6 p.m., I'd go back to the Bronx, eat a bowl of soup my mama made, change, walk back to the subway, this time heading down to the East Village to try and play a song or two at an open mic or do some other music-related thing, and then late at night, head back to the subway, back to the Bronx to sleep so that tomorrow I could start all over again. And I had it better than many of my friends who didn't have parents living in New York, who had to pay rent and lived in tiny apartments with many roommates instead of their childhood bedrooms, and who didn't have anyone making soup for them or staying up late waiting for them to turn the key quietly and know they're okay. I don't think my parents ever slept during those years, worrying about me getting home late at night from playing shows. They were so supportive, like I see so many parents here. I actually had to ask them to stop coming to the bars I played at, just so that I could experience what it was like to play for strangers without having these two loving faces beaming up at me. I've known so many people whose parents didn't want them to be artists or disapproved of the path they chose. I'm one of the lucky ones. But still, being broke, averaging about 5 to 6 hours a day on the subway, didn't always do great things for my outlook. There's a Russian saying my mom told me when I was growing up. The eyes fear, but the hands do. It helped me find my place in it all, to make the best of it, to do as much as I could. I read a lot of books on the subway and made every stranger I ever met sign my mailing list. Even guys who tried to get my number, I just opened my marble notebook and have them write down their email instead. They were surprised, but always did it. I played every show I could, bars, cafes, indie comedy nights, residencies, people's living rooms. I took buses I could afford from Chinatown to Philly and Boston to play there too. I drew endless flyers and always carried a backpack with 5 CDs, hoping I'd find someone to take one or maybe even buy one. That was exciting. When you leave here, you might feel overwhelmed by the amount of work ahead, but you must do a little every day. The key is not to stop. The eyes fear, but the hands do. The eyes might take in financial struggles, heartbreak, political setbacks, really big political setbacks, cruelty, hatred, climate change, but the hands do. They find a person to help, an instrument to play, a friend to cook for, a plant to water, a book to open, a note to write, an act of resistance to participate in. Instead of letting the magnitude of it all wash over you, try to do small things. What you have, what you will always have no matter what, is your unique and perfect consciousness. Some people call it a soul, some people think of it as an instinct or intuition. It is your inner voice, and it is most important, especially now. Amplify it, support it. It's the thing that will make you say yes to an opportunity you didn't even realize you wanted, or to say no to something that looks good on paper but ultimately feels wrong to you. It is your inner guide, and if you let it, it can lead you through this incredible, confusing, surreal, mysterious, at times painful, but always powerful and inspiring experience of living life authentically. My mouth is too dry, hold on. I'm rushing because I don't want to take too much of your time. Okay. You don't have to know all the answers today. Everyone is going to ask you out of habit. So what are you going to do now? Which is an updated version of, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most of the time, I'm acutely aware of how little I know. But I truly believe that if you pursue trying to honor your natural gifts and qualities, you will be able to succeed, to reach your goals. You can be most useful in the world just by being your true, ever-evolving self and following your true, ever-winding path. And that could be my wish for you today. To follow your dreams and to work hard for them. Be kind to them too. Dreams should not be judged, just heard. And to do all that, you must take care of yourself. Surround yourself with good people, people you can look up to. Ask questions, seek community. Hang out with kind, empathic, gentle doers. Don't stay too long with those who bring you down. Remember, there's nothing better to do around here, on this planet, in this universe, than to be your true self, an ever-expanding force. And speaking of force, may the force be with you.
know, as president